Hello guys, and welcome to continue our session. In this session we need to install some of operating systems and tell you what we need to do next. Just a brief information, you will notice me that I will explain a lot using Google, and also I will use Google to search for information and maybe for questions to answer. Because simply our job here is to avoid memorizing. Yeah, we don't need to study in a way that we need to memorize. We just need to understand logically and try to remember what we know. And if we missed something like a command or specific answer to a question, we can simply ask Google. And this is the reason why we have internet, yeah, because no need to study everything, no need to memorize everything, but you need to have the logic, to have the knowledge, to have the experience to find the right answer, the right information that you are looking for. For now, we will set up the labs. We do have two virtual machine types, VMware Workstation and VirtualBox. Why? Because we need to install Kali Linux, which is an operating system, Linux-based, that a lot of hackers use. The thing is, why we prefer Kali Linux, because we have tools pre-installed inside. So I don't need to download Metasploit, for example, for exploitation, because it is pre-installed here. It's already there. That's why we use Kali Linux. It is an attack machine. And in case you need to use the old distributions, you can simply go to this path, and you will be having all the old distributions. So you will be having the Kali since 2016 till the new versions as well. For me, I use a virtual machine that acts as the hardware, but it is a virtual hardware, and I can use it smoothly. So that's why we will install VMware or VirtualBox. So what is the difference between both? Yeah, let me type VMware and let me type VirtualBox, and let us see why there are two vendors. So thing is, VMware is way more bigger than VirtualBox because this one is only for virtual machines. But VMware also delivers, other services and solutions, products to a lot of vendors, a lot of companies, including, you see, Alibaba, Azure, Google Cloud. So they have a lot of, hybrid products as well. That's why I prefer to use VMware, and I usually use it. And the thing is, VMware is licensed, so it is paid. Or if you want to use the free version, feel free to use VirtualBox. I usually use both, but now for the commercial end, I use VMware. We will stick with VMware, and feel free, please, to use VirtualBox if you want. And thing here in the hacking industry, you need to try stuff. So I recommend using both. You can download both, you can use both, you can see both features. Why I use this, or so you can feel free to use what you want. In the end, I'm not here in the course to state for you and to tell you what exactly to use. I'm just here to explain everything, make things clear, and then you can use whatever you want. Maybe you will find another solution that can fit the operating systems. So here is not to understand from me how to do it in order, but to break the order, to break the logic, to do everything as per you please. Yeah. So now let's install Kali Linux. And what I usually do is, whenever we need to look for a solution for a software, we can go on Google directly and hit Kali Linux and go to the main page, to the main page, kali.org. Sometimes you may see ads here and there, so I don't recommend you downloading anything except from being downloaded from the official website. Why? Because, maybe they will implement malware some here and there. So I prefer everything to download from the official website. So the most advantaged penetration testing distribution. So it is Debian-based Linux, and it is designed for the hackers with pre-installed tools, and it is open source. So what is the difference between an open source and a closed source? Open source means that we're gonna use this solution with a clear understanding of the code behind it, meaning that we have access to the source code and we are able to edit and customize it per our needs if we are developers. So open source versus closed source. And you see, now when we want to explain, we will use Google. Why? Because, the whole knowledge is found here. Using Google, which is better to have, a lot of ideas and to teach you how I use Google to learn. Because I'm a self-taught guy. I used Google to learn. From Google, I got to forums, I got to channels, and then I tried to pull information and learn. Open source is free of charge, while the closed source is not. You need to pay. For example, Kali Linux, we're downloading it for free now. But for Windows, you need to pay for the license. So Kali Linux or Ubuntu itself is an open source. Windows is a closed source. Ubuntu is free, Windows is paid. Why? Because Windows source code is not available publicly, while Ubuntu, yes, you can now download the source code of Ubuntu, and you can update it, you can alter it, edit it, and you have your own version of Linux. So open source, as we said, is customizable, you can edit the code. Closed source is not. You get Windows as it is. So there is no license for open source, but there is a license for the closed source. Even specific image, you cannot get everything you need. You need to keep looking until you find what the information you need. Closed source is protected by copyrights, meaning that no one allowed to steal your code. So now Windows code is not allowed anyone to steal it because it is protected by copyright. This is only some examples about the open source versus the closed source. So we can see Apple, the iPhone, is closed source, while Android is an open source. That's why you can see that Samsung, Huawei, Noga, whatever, all these Nokia, BlackBerry, all these phone carrier companies, they're developing phones and implementing the Android OS in their phones. And you see, even each Android is different than the other. So, for example, Samsung and Huawei both use Android, but at the same time, both Androids has slightly different versions and different, things inside, and different UI, for example. While Apple, no one uses the iOS of Apple except Apple. And you can see that every time Apple make a new device, the iOS is the same but is being updated. Just small improvements or small changes in the operating system. Same for other companies. We can see that Photoshop is a closed source, while others like Linux distributions, Chrome is an open source. Firefox is an open source. Microsoft Office is a closed source. That's why you see a lot of crack. And that's why later when we will talk about malware analysis and malwares, why crack is very dangerous and very harmful. Because antiviruses are not able to detect the crack. And because antiviruses are closed source, so you don't know exactly what they are developing. That's why through the zero-day intelligence, you are able to bypass them. And we will talk about it later. So this is also another example. For the shopping site, Magento is open source, while Shopify is a closed source, and so on. So I guess we took good information here. I truly suggest, guys, when every session finishes, just, read articles. What I usually did in order to get professional level, I usually read a lot of articles about specific topic. I mastered this topic, I gained the needed knowledge before I pass. So for example, in this session, we talk about open source, visit closed source, and I highly recommend here to type article. So you will get some articles talking about this. Geeks for Geeks, this is very useful website. You have also Medium, so we can here, instead of writing article, we can write Medium article, because we have a lot of Medium articles that are very good as well. So this one is an article that tells us the difference between open source and closed source. Well, you see here sometimes some articles are paid, so no need to pay, you just need to look for the free sources. And this is Geeks for Geeks, we're gonna use it a lot. for commands for searching. So Geeks for Geeks is a very important website for programming. You have a lot of questions answered here. Wow, this is comparison between the open source and the closed source. This is very good. You can read this. And also an articles by people, writers. It is not necessarily to be in cybersecurity, yeah, but in technology in general. You can read, gather ideas, and make a note. I have here something called OneNote. So I have this OneNote where you see I write the payloads for XSS injection. We're gonna talk about them. I have section called web hacking, mobile pen testing resources, commands, forensics investigation, exploitations for infrastructure hacking, Web3, smart contract, and I have much more inside each one. So by that, I keep my notes here so I don't forget the important things. So I highly recommend you do the same. And we will talk more, yeah? Because I'm trying to start from basics to advanced level. So even here, you see important things in networking, difference between TCP and UDP. And we're gonna talk about these here. Because I'm not gonna proceed, with the CEH slides, talking 50 slides about the same topic. I only need to understand the important things from it in order to feed to, we're not gonna do an exam in the end. We're not in a university or a school. I'm not gonna tell you study what is TCP without, knowing the knowledge or understanding exactly what they do. Memorizing without understanding is useless. We need to understand what we are doing in order to know how we use it technically, practically, because we're gonna send requests, we're gonna send packets to see the ports if it's open or closed, or to see if it is running behind a firewall, how we can bypass it. So we need to understand the transmission of the protocols running. We're gonna go deeply in this stuff. So we're gonna understand the OSI model of the network. Okay, cool. So let's get back to the OS. Well, this is the Kali Linux to download section. And here you see in download section, we have a couple of distributions. What I usually did when I was starting hacking, when I see all of these, I don't just choose what I want. I can see here 2 recommended. So why these are recommended? In order to be successful, you need to ask questions. You need to ask the right questions. Well, we see now that we can turn our mobile into a hacking machine by installing Kali for the mobile version, even on USB, flash. No need to care about if we have a device. We only need our flash with us, and we can implement it on any device. Container, like Docker for the development. Well, cloud. I only need to access a cloud, and I can run my hacking machine inside. I highly recommend you read everything here. What is ARM on Google? So just Google search. What is ARM? We understood now that ARM is a processors inside the computers. We can read, we can understand the structure, the topology of it. We can see how ARM works. Usually this is the core installed inside the device, and this is the other technologies, the chips, and much more. I'm just giving examples because this is how I studied. I don't recommend on people to teach me. I recommend on myself and the internet. Whenever you see something you didn't understand and I may miss to explain, please Google it. And you can ask on the group channel we have on Telegram as well. We will be happy to learn new stuff because when you will be asking me questions, I will be learning with you. Yeah, I will be learning with you, and I will be, providing some opportunities for you to learn as well. Cool. You see there is a mistake in UI. Anyways, well, because we're using a virtual machine, I recommend to download this version for the virtual machine, not the ISO. ISO is used if you wanna install it directly on your device, your hardware device, the laptop or the computer. But if we wanna use virtual machine, let's download the virtual machine version because it is gonna be light on the machine. It is designed for the virtual machine. You proceed with this. I already downloaded it. After proceeding with this, you need to download VirtualBox and VMware, which we already talked about here. So you download VirtualBox and you go to the VMware, well, a lot of products here. So it's, for example, here, we didn't know where to go, yeah, because lot of things inside. So simply we type download VMware workstation, and here we are. We found it. So we want to download it for Windows because I'm using Windows. Download now. Oh, and it started downloading. Well, for now I don't want to download it, so because I already have it. So let's open now virtual machine, and I type VMware. This one, VMware Workstation Pro. So this is the interface of the VMware. Now what we do have is the compressed file of the Kali Linux, which I already downloaded it, and I need to put it inside my ISO. So here I have my ISO folder, which I put all my OS inside. So now I need to extract it here. Let's move it here. So it's gonna take a bit of time to be extracted. Well, I have a good machine, so it's not gonna take long. You know, also people get to ask me what machine should I use for hacking. Well, any machine is fine. Random specs is fine. 8 GB RAM, enough storage, a good processors running, a good core, and so on. So this is the Kali Linux virtual machine. You see there is no ISO. There is directly the virtual machine files. So they did it for us, and they exported it in a RAR file, WinRAR, in a zip file, and they set it to us, and we extracted it directly. So I will show you the file that you want to click on. When you install, so first you install virtual machine. Second, you install Kali, and this is the file that you need to click on. .vmx stands for virtual machine. So now, when we click, you will see my virtual machine now, VMware. Where is VMware? Okay, here. So this is the VMware. Yeah, I don't have Kali now. But when I click, okay, when I click here, I will have soon a new section called Kali Linux 2023-1 VMware AMD 64. And by default, these are the devices. They assign 2 GB memory for it, 4 processes, 80 GB hard disk, and all these. And we hit power on this machine, and let's start seeing what it will show us. To be honest with you, I didn't use the latest version of Kali Linux. I usually use Ubuntu, and I usually use my VPS server. So, but now it is a good opportunity to check their latest system. So it is loading. Data leaks possible. Well, this is just, forget about it. It's just text. Okay, and we can start. So their username is Kali. The password is root, or maybe the opposite. Okay, so the username is root. The password is Kali. Oh, so we need to know exactly. Well, username and password for Kali Linux. And we need to specify the version 2023. So it is Kali, okay. But we need the admin, root username, and password. Well, it is Kali, strange. Okay, we can try Kali. So you see the troubleshooting? I don't memorize anything, guys. I just, search Google, and we got in. Just simple Google search. What is the username and password for the Kali? So here we have the terminal. Wow, it is nice, by the way. If config to see our IP address. Let me increase the size so you can see properly. Okay, so we have this our local IP address 192.168.153.135. Nice. So we will talk more about Kali Linux. We will talk about the tools. We will also talk about Bash script, Linux commands, some other stuff. Well, now we have the Kali Linux machine, and we have Metasploitable. What is Metasploitable? From its name, Metasploit is the framework used for exploitation. It is a machine that is designed to have flows inside. and it is used as a vulnerable machine for us just to practice. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the link to download Metasploitable, and I have it in the slides. We can download Metasploitable from this link. Okay, so we can download either from Rapid7 or from SourceForge. Feel free to download it from here. And hit download, and it will download. I have it here, you can see Metasploitable Linux. And you can also click on this file. When you click, you will have it, Metasploitable. And simply you make sure it is not, because we need to make the Kali Linux read it. And we launch the machine. So the username and password is, from its name, Metasploitable, MSF admin, I guess, and the password is the same as well. Let us wait. You see it is starting all the protocols and the services, MySQL, web server, Apache, Tomcat servlet, because it is designed to find vulnerabilities inside. You have the username, password, MSF admin. Let's log in, MSF admin. I made a mistake, so I will get wrongy. Okay, MSF admin and MSF admin. And I'm inside. So pwd print current working directory. I'm inside home/MSF admin. Cool. Next session, we will start talking about some web concepts, how web works, etc., etc. And then we will get back to our machines to scan, to do exploitations, and much more. Alongside, we will be having other labs aside from Metasploitable that are designed to find vulnerabilities inside and exploiting them, which we will talk more about them. For now, I only have the lab 01, but then I will make sure to have more labs as well. Okay, guys, see you in the next session. Have a good day.